Hey everybody, my name is Jeff Adams. I'm the owner of Terra Sophia LLC, a ecological design consulting and landscape contracting firm located here in beautiful Moab, Utah. And right now we're up high atop Rocky Road at a project I call Hidden Valley Permaculture that I'm working on with my partner and daughter and our landlord Jay Nethercott. Just having fun on beautiful days, recreating hill slopes and really pioneering some fun new techniques that we call brush mineral structures. And essentially it's kind of how it sounds. We use brush, leaves, weeds, really any organic matter, and we do that in layers or lifts, mixing in whatever mineral earth you have to do a whole suite of different projects. And right now we're working on a hill slope reconstruction that was bulldozed maybe 20, 30 years ago. This hill slope was cut in half to make some flat building pads and has been slowly eroding ever since. And we've decided over the last couple years to put it back together and see if we could revegetate it. So we're in process of that right now. We've got the first lift on this hill slope, and essentially, as you can see, we've got these eroding faces that we're worried that this eventually is going to fall off and maybe cause this beautiful greasewood to die. So rather than let things fall apart, we're putting them back together. When you look in close, you can see little watermarks and spots where it's continuing to erode. So erosion happens whenever we have water falling or running over bare soil, especially if it's on a slope. There's just not much to hold things in place here. So as those raindrops hit it, thankfully this bush is giving it some shelter, but over time it just keeps eroding off pieces more and more, and this whole thing, this whole clump here is at risk of just slumping off and falling off. We're going to bring this brush mineral feature right up and just build it and fit it into the shape of this existing hill slope, so that any water falling on this is going to then get caught into this new sponge that we're creating with all of this organic material and mineral earth, and actually hold on to that valuable resource of water rather than letting it continue to erode away this hillside. And so the other thing that we want to avoid is having bare soil, because like this is hard pan, so it's both eroding. When it gets wet, it loosens up and it erodes off. The wind can also cause some of that erosion, but it's also so sun-baked and hard that it's nearly impossible for any plant root to get established in this as it is. And so this, right as it is now, is not conducive for growing plants and sustaining more life. For this project, we were able to get a decent amount of brush already staged and ready here to go. So it really is a pretty simple strategy. Usually I try to go in lifts of maybe 6 inches to a foot, where you layer in your organic material. We'll get this a little denser, and then you cover it with mineral earth and you repeat, and you just keep doing that over and over again in lifts until you've got the desired height that you're going for. Many woody species, such as three-leaf sumac, can actually be used in a technique that's called layering. And so that's when dormant branches or actively growing branches come in contact with soil, remain moist enough that they can actually change their cell composition to start forming roots out of what used to be shoots or leaf cells. And now we're ready for our next course of brush on top of this. Depending on your aesthetic and how much space you have, I usually like to have my clippers handy and just take off the outlying sticks a little bit, just to keep it a little neater and not have anything that'll catch anybody as they're walking by on the trail here. Healthy soil can be seen as soil that has oxygen, water, life, and substrate. And so we want it to have pore space that allows oxygen and water to move freely, allows macroanthropods to come and go, and is actively decomposing and cycling the fresh organic matter of any season into the layers of the soil to become rich, nutrient available water harvesting, water storing material for plants to come. And as we get materials available, we keep moving it forward. And so you don't have to think about it, oh, I don't have enough material for the whole project. It's more important that, oh, I have this material that I just weeded or harvested from this other project. Let me get started on something, and then I can build it out over the course of weeks or years as those materials become available to you. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And so here we have our mineral earth, which here in Moab, we're fortunate that there's a gravel quarry that produces what's called reject sand, and it's essentially this great mineral earth that's got a nice balance of sand particle sizes as well as some clays in it, so it becomes a really good product that we use a lot in these brush mineral features, and a lot of people use for natural building, making cob and other such materials like that. If you don't have access to a byproduct such as reject sand from a local quarry, you can really use any soil. You can use fill dirt, you can use eroding hillside, you can really just kind of take advantage of any type of mineral earth you have. Maybe look to see if somebody's digging a foundation or doing a construction project and tapping into some of the mineral earth that way. All right, so here we are. We've brought it essentially up to grade, and we're going to do one last coating of wood chip mulch to just give it a nice aesthetic cap, but also that wood chip mulch is essential for holding in the moisture that we're going to get into this new reconstructed hillside, as well as helping to build soil. As that wood chip mulch breaks down, it gets a lot of mycelial action and will help to eventually form some topsoil here. On the top of all this, we're going to put this log, this branch that came to us, and instead of throwing it into one of our other landforms, we like to use some of our branches and especially thicker logs structurally and aesthetically to form a little cap on the structure and help to hold the mulch from flopping over. And so now we are putting a soaker hose on it so that we can saturate this whole zone. And so the idea with this, we're really trying to go for drought tolerant, robust plantings, but to charge up the system, we initially apply water so that we can get all of the mineral earth and all of the organic matter that we've now built into this all thoroughly soaked, so that that decomposition and life can start to move in there and do its work. Here we are with the finished product for now. We will expect some amount of settling and decomposition, though because we put so much of the mineral earth in here, that we'll probably only see it settle a couple inches over time, at which point we might add some more material to bring it up, or we may decide to just go ahead and plant into this, because once this all starts to break down with this moisture, then it'll be ready for plants, and they'll either come in by seed. We're hoping to see if some of the sumac will grow out of the middle of this as it gets saturated down there, or we can come in and pop in a couple wildflowers or something into this. So I would expect, if we came back to this site in a year or two, we're going to have this whole hillside reconstructed and vegetated. All right, and so here we have a berm that we built just over 3 years ago now. Originally it had been at this grade all the way dropping down over the hill into our backyard, and so we wanted to enhance our privacy, break up the wind a little bit, so we just layered, in this case, arundo canes with the reject sand, built it up, and then we threw a seed mix on, used the biodiversity approach, just threw a bunch of different seeds of all sorts of things on, put a dripper on it, and now we have at least a dozen different species growing here. We have Palmer's penstemon, hollyhocks, clary sage, Maximilian sunflowers, rabbit brush, there's some blue flax, blanket flower, a couple different types of grasses, all growing in this space that used to just be air. And so we're really excited now. We get the privacy and the windbreak that we're going for, but we're also have this beautiful biodiverse patch that the carpenter bees especially love it. They like to go into the ends of the arundo canes, and that's where they do some of their reproducing. And it's also the only spot on the property so far that I've seen a snake was a garter snake crawled into the berm somewhere right around here. We're getting multifunctions that improve our human habitat, and we're getting beauty, but we're also really increasing biodiversity and that structural ability for different critters to find a home here. So brush mineral features have really been inspired by a range of ecological processes and patterns, including flood deposits, beaver dams, and the work of indigenous cultures and permaculture people all over the world. And really what we're seeing is that various combinations of layering organic matter and mineral soil can be used for all sorts of beneficial purposes. And some of the allied strategies that it's very closely related to are things like beaver dam analogs that are used to raise the water level in creek channels, stream channels, hugelkultur, sheet mulch, chop and drop, lop and scatter, some of these various techniques that also are shovel ready and low energy input to get that material cycling back into your system is really the main goal. What we've been trying to experiment with and push the envelope a bit with is how do we use these range of techniques and adapt them to very arid conditions and very steep and hilly conditions, and see how we can create paths, terraces, and whole new landforms that are high in organic content and ready to grow plants. I'm also really happy to point everybody to a new technical guide that myself and Neil Bertrando of Reno Truckee Permaculture out of Reno, Nevada put together on brush mineral features, a guide to using organic matter and soil for multifunctional benefits in dry lands. And really what that breaks down to is using your organic matter close to where it grows to create multiple benefits. Yeah, so here we are on one of our most massive brush mineral features. It's a new landform that we've been working on over the past 3 years, 4 years now. And where I'm standing, I am approximately 8 to 10 feet above the native grade, and so everything below me has been added for that 8 to 10 feet, just layers of really whatever anybody brought in, brush, sticks, leaves, weeds, cheatgrass, anything. We've added some mineral earth and wood chips as we go to make it solid layers, and we're about to use this soil probe to core down into it and see how it's decomposing. So there we have approximately 9 inches top. We've still got our active wood chip layer that we've been adding, and then it's starting to turn to soil there. Looks like we hit a good pocket of mineral earth. Let's go a little deeper and see what we can find. So here we have the bottom end of an organic layer where you can barely even find a wood chip, a stick, anything, and then a slightly more mineral layer here, so that's probably a sign of where we did a couple wheelbarrows of the mineral earth and then had another layer of organic matter added on top of it. Yeah, and so here is a sample from approximately 3.5, 4 feet down, and this white stuff right at the tip of my finger is the start of some fungal mycelium that is taking hold down there and helping to decompose things. And so this is one of the biggest chunks that we're able to find at this depth, these couple, and a lot of it's more turning into this really fine, nice topsoil where we've still got the mineral component, and that organic matter is being actively incorporated into it through decomposition. Smells like topsoil, Looks like topsoil. Tastes like topsoil. I think we made topsoil.